Hello, everyone, and welcome back to English Talk Podcast. I'm Isabella, your co-host for today's episode, and as always, I'm joined by the ever-thoughtful Patrick. Hey, Patrick, how are you doing?
Hi, Isabella. Hi, listeners. I'm doing great, thank you. I hope everyone out there is having a fantastic day, and if not, don't worry. We're here to brighten it up a bit.
Absolutely. Now let me ask you, Patrick, and you too, listeners, how often do you think about the food on your plate? You know, like where it comes from or how it's affecting your body.
Oof. You're starting off with the big questions, Isabella. I mean, we all think about food when we're hungry, right? But really understanding what we're eating, that's another story.
Exactly. And trust me, Patrick, you're not alone in that. Eating healthy is something we all know we should do. But let's face it can be tough sometimes, right?
Absolutely. Between busy schedules, confusing labels, and let's be honest, the temptation of fast food, it's not always easy to make healthy choices. But that's exactly why we're here today.
That's right. In this episode, we're diving into the world of healthy eating. We're going to explore why it's so important, not just for looking good, but for feeling amazing, living longer, and having more energy for the things you love. And don't worry, we're keeping it simple and practical.
We'll be talking about the benefits of healthy eating, sharing some easy-to-follow tips, and even debunking a few myths along the way. Plus, we've got a fun role-play activity coming up, so stay tuned for that.
So grab a cup of tea, sit back, or if you're on the go, just plug in those headphones, and let's chat about how to make healthier eating habits work for you. Ready, Patrick?
Ready, let's get started.
So Patrick, let's start with the big question. Why does eating healthy matter so much? I mean, it's not just about fitting into your favorite pair of jeans, right?
You're so right, Isabella. Eating healthy is about fueling your body and mind. Studies show that a balanced diet can reduce the risk of chronic diseases like heart disease, diabetes, and even certain cancers. And let's not forget how it boosts mental health, too. Healthy eating has been linked to better mood and concentration.
Wow, that's powerful. I read somewhere that nearly 1/3 of adults worldwide struggle with diet-related health issues. That's huge.
It really is. But you know, it's not just about the facts, it's about how people feel. Have you ever noticed how sluggish you feel after a heavy, greasy meal versus how energized you feel after a salad or a smoothie?
Absolutely. And it's not just physical energy either. Eating poorly can really mess with your emotions. I remember a friend telling me how switching to healthier meals helped with her anxiety.
That's such a good point. But let's be real, there are challenges, right? Healthy eating can seem expensive, time-consuming, or even confusing with all the conflicting information out there.
For sure. And that's why we're here today, to break it down and make it easier. Stay with us, listeners, because up next, we're sharing some practical tips to make healthy eating a breeze. All right, let's get into the heart of the episode. Practical tips for eating healthy. This is the part where we get hands-on and share some really actionable advice. Patrick, when you think of eating healthy, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
For me, it's planning ahead. Meal prepping is a game changer. When I don't plan, I find myself grabbing whatever's quick, and well, you can guess that's not always the healthiest choice.
Exactly. Meal prepping saves time, money, and so much stress. Imagine coming home after a long day and having a healthy meal ready to go. It's the best feeling. Listeners, this doesn't have to be complicated. Start small by preparing 1 or 2 meals in advance, like a big batch of soup or roasted veggies.
And don't forget snacks. I always have a stash of nuts, yogurt, or some fruit on hand. Otherwise, I get hangry, and nobody wants that.
We've all been there, Patrick. Speaking of snacks, another tip is to read food labels. So many packaged foods are sneaky. They might say healthy or low fat, but they're loaded with sugar or sodium.
Totally. I recently checked the label on a granola bar, and it had as much sugar as a candy bar. Mind blown.
It's wild, isn't it? So listeners, here's a pro tip. When you're looking at food labels, focus on the ingredients list. The shorter and simpler, the better. If you can't pronounce half the ingredients, it's probably not great for you.
Now let's talk about affordability, because eating healthy doesn't have to break the bank. One thing I always recommend is buying frozen fruits and veggies. They're just as nutritious as fresh ones, but they last longer and cost less.
Yes, frozen spinach, berries, and broccoli are staples in my kitchen. And don't underestimate local markets. You can find amazing deals on fresh produce when you shop in season.
Great point. And cooking at home is another money saver. When you cook your own meals, you control what goes in them. Less salt, less oil, more flavor. Plus, it's fun to experiment with new recipes.
Totally. And speaking of fun, how about we role-play a quick grocery store trip to show our listeners how easy it is to make healthier choices?
Okay, let's do it. Isabella, picture this. We're walking into a grocery store. What's the first thing we grab?
Easy. Fruits and veggies. Let's head to the produce section. I'd grab a bag of apples, some bananas, and maybe a couple of avocados. What about you?
Definitely some carrots and cucumbers for snacks. Oh, and kale. Gotta have my green smoothies.
Nice choices. Now let's move to the grains aisle. Instead of white rice or regular pasta, I'd pick up some quinoa or whole grain pasta. They're so much more nutritious.
Absolutely. And while we're here, let's grab some oats for breakfast. Affordable, versatile, and super filling.
Love it. Now for proteins. I'd go for some eggs, a pack of lentils, and maybe some chicken or salmon. What's on your list?
I'm a big fan of canned beans and tofu. They're budget-friendly and packed with protein. And maybe some Greek yogurt for snacks.
Great. And don't forget a few spices to make everything taste amazing. Paprika, garlic powder, maybe some cumin. Listeners, with a cart like this, you're all set for balanced, healthy meals for the week.
See, it's not so hard. And speaking of balance, let's talk about portions. Eating healthy isn't just about what you eat, but how much. A balanced plate should have half veggies, a quarter protein, and a quarter carbs.
Exactly. And don't forget to hydrate. Sometimes we think we're hungry when we're just thirsty. Keep a water bottle handy throughout the day.
Healthy eating really is about small, consistent steps. Start with 1 or 2 changes, like swapping soda for water or packing your lunch instead of eating out. Over time, these habits add up.
Right. And remember, healthy eating is a journey, not a sprint. Celebrate your progress, no matter how small. Every healthy choice you make is a win. Now, let's dive into some of the biggest myths and mistakes surrounding healthy eating. Patrick, have you ever heard someone say, all fats are bad for you?
Oh, all the time. It's one of the most persistent myths out there, but that couldn't be further from the truth. Healthy fats like those in avocados, nuts, seeds, and olive oil are essential. They support brain function, heart health, and even help your body absorb key vitamins like A, D, E, and K.
Exactly. And you know, fat gets such a bad rap, but it's often the type of fat that matters. Saturated and trans fats, like those found in fried and processed foods, can harm your health if consumed in excess. But unsaturated fats, like those in salmon and flax seeds, are actually good for you.
So no more feeling guilty for eating guacamole, right?
Absolutely not. Bring on the guac, Patrick. But here's another one I hear a lot. Organic food is always better. What do you think about that?
You know, organic can be great for reducing exposure to pesticides and supporting eco-friendly farming practices. But it's not the only option for healthy eating. What matters most is eating a variety of whole, minimally processed foods. Whether your carrot is organic or conventionally grown, it's still a carrot, and it's a better choice than a bag of chips.
So true. Plus, organic can be pricey, and not everyone can afford it. That's why learning to wash your produce well and choosing fruits and vegetables in season is such a smart way to stay healthy on a budget.
Definitely. And let's talk about skipping meals, something a lot of people do, thinking it'll help them lose weight faster. But skipping meals often backfires by slowing your metabolism and causing you to overeat later.
I've seen that happen so many times. And skipping meals also deprives your body of the nutrients it needs to stay energized and focused. Breakfast, for example, is a huge one. Something as simple as oatmeal with fruit or a boiled egg can set you up for a productive day.
What about diet trends, Isabella? I feel like every week there's a new one. Keto, paleo, juice cleanses. Are they worth it?
Great question. Some diets can be effective for certain people or conditions, but many are too extreme to maintain long-term. Juice cleanses, for example, might help you lose water weight, but they often lack protein and healthy fats, 2 things your body really needs.
Right, and cutting out entire food groups like carbs can also be dangerous. Carbs are your body's main source of energy. Choosing complex carbs, like whole grains, quinoa, and sweet potatoes, is much healthier than going no carb altogether.
And let's not forget the mental side of dieting. Extreme diets can create an unhealthy relationship with food, making you feel guilty for enjoying a treat. Balance is the key. Allow yourself to indulge occasionally while keeping overall habits healthy.
So listeners, the takeaway here is this. Healthy eating doesn't mean perfection. It means balance, consistency, and making informed choices. And don't let myths hold you back. Educating yourself is half the battle.
Exactly. Take it one step at a time. Maybe start by swapping soda for water or adding one extra serving of veggies to your meals this week. Small changes lead to big results over time.
And on that note, stick with us because up next, we'll tie everything together in the outro with a fun challenge to kickstart your healthy eating journey.
Wow, Patrick, what an episode. I feel like we covered so much ground today, from understanding why eating healthy is so important to practical tips and even debunking those stubborn myths. Let's take a moment to reflect on some key takeaways, shall we?
Absolutely, Isabella. If there's one thing I hope our listeners remember, it's that eating healthy doesn't have to be perfect or complicated. It's all about small, sustainable changes. Start with 1 or 2 adjustments. Maybe meal prep for the week, or swap out sugary drinks for water. Each step brings you closer to a healthier, happier you.
Well said, Patrick. And remember, it's not just about physical health. Good nutrition fuels your mind and spirit, giving you more energy, better focus, and just an overall sense of well-being. It's truly life-changing when you start to feel the benefits.
Right. And it's also a personal journey. Everyone's needs and preferences are different, so find what works for you. And hey, we'd love to hear what steps you're taking to eat healthier. Share your experiences with us on social media. We're always looking for inspiration too.
Yes, please do. Whether it's a new recipe, a favorite snack, or even a simple tip, we'd love to hear your ideas. And don't forget to tag us so we can share them with the community. Together, we can inspire and support each other on this journey.
And speaking of community, make sure to subscribe to the podcast if you haven't already. That way you'll never miss an episode. We've got so much more coming up, including our next topic, which I'm super excited about. Isabella, should we give them a hint?
Ooh, just a little one. Let's just say it involves boosting your happiness levels in ways you might not expect. Intrigued? Then stay tuned.
Thanks for joining us today, listeners. Remember, every small step counts, and we're here cheering you on every bite of the way.
Take care, everyone, and don't forget, you've got this. See you next time.